welcome. I'm Lisa Kneller, and I wanted to share today something kind of special, and that is an episode of the podcast Differently, hosted by my friend Carla Reeves. And Carla, I think she's got over 250 episodes or something close to that. And I actually have known Carla for many years, probably since about 2015. And also, she was my coach for a little while. And I love this episode that we did together. And what we cover, we talk about marriage and relationships. And it's a topic that she said she would like to talk about more often because she thinks it's so important, as do I. So we talked about, actually, she just interviewed me yesterday and she aired the episode today. So I'm going to post that episode link below this video in the comments section. I'm also going to post a picture of her Differently podcast. But what we talked about, first of all, we talked about my story and my mission as to what I'm doing as a coach. And we talked about unlearning conflict habits that are harmful. So I give some examples of, early on in my marriage when I wasn't very savvy about marriage and relationships. We talk about trauma baggage and the adaptive child. We talk about identity work, which is something that I do with my clients. And we also covered writing a marriage declaration together. We talked about an I am statement and a marriage declaration, which I think is a really unique exercise. I don't know anybody else who's done that, but I've done it. So if you ever want to learn how to do it, reach out. But it's very powerful, and it's just taking language and using it to create really positive thoughts about your relationship. And you don't have to be married. You could be in any kind of relationship and have a declaration about it. But the marriage declaration is very powerful. We talked about dropping ego and practicing respect, which every successful married couple has to do. You have to drop your ego and you have to have respect for the other person. We talked about midlife pressure and gray divorce, which basically is a kind of a phenomenon over the last 15 years, I think, or 20 years. Gray divorce has been on the rise. Gray meaning gray hair of the age when people are getting older and they've been married probably for decades, and then for a variety of reasons, that marriage breaks up. And I think it's very sad to get divorced at that age, especially. So that's one thing I'm trying to prevent. And then we talked about rebuilding friendship through shared time. And Carla mentioned and asked about my book, The Inner Work of Love. So I do a little reading on that. And we talk about thought inquiry instead of making assumptions. So do you remember the book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz? And one of the agreements was never assume anything or don't make assumptions. Yeah, that's a big one. That little tiny book helped me through at least the first few decades of my marriage. Because this year we're celebrating 40. And then we talked about intimacy rules that keep you close and why receptiveness matters most in a relationship. And then she asked me a question at the end: what do I do differently, or what do I think differently about marriage and relationships that maybe other people don't think? And you'll have to listen to the episode to learn what I tell her about that. So anyway, I want to share this episode. I would love for you to share the episode. I love Carla's voice. She has the most soothing voice. She's a great interviewer. She asks really great questions. And that's all I have to say. And now I'm going to get ready and post all the things to go along with this. All right. Well, you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.